Hi guys, welcome back to the wonderful world of EUNOIA. Today is a special day. As you know, it's my birthday, and it's also the premiere of the second season of EUNOIA. I appreciate you all being here, and I appreciate those of you who put the pressure on me to get this season going. I hope you all are happy, healthy, and doing fantastic. Lots has happened since we had our last episode. Let me fill you in on what has been going on over here since April. A few endings and a few new beginnings. Over the past couple of years, I've had an inner desire to relocate, and I finally did it. My goal was to be out of the Bay Area by the end of 2020. Well, I beat my goal by several months and was out of the Bay by spring, amid pandemic and all. In January, I decided that once my lease ended that I wasn't going to renew it again. I was just going to Airbnb it or find something short-term until I was able to relocate, because I didn't want to be locked into another lease. I wanted the freedom to get up and leave when I was ready. Throughout the craziness of coronavirus, I went through a lot of big changes, and I'm currently getting settled into my new home, my new city, and my new job. And let me tell you, it feels like home already, which is exactly the feeling I've been yearning for so long. I love the Bay Area, but I knew that it wasn't my long-term home. It never felt that way. I'm not sure if it's the new city or if I finally found a home within myself, but either way, I'm happy. I feel balanced and so grateful. I'm happy because I worked my ass off for this. I manifested this. This is the first time ever in life where I wrote out my goals and what I wanted, and it happened exactly how it should. I made a plan and I saw it through to the end. The universe has a way of hearing you when you talk, and boy did it come through. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew where I wanted to be. I just wasn't exactly sure how or when I was going to attain it. But it's something that I promised myself a few years ago. A couple years later, I'm reaping the benefits of all of my efforts, and it feels so crazy to say that I can actually now check everything off of my list that I said I wanted. Literally, the only thing missing at this point is a relationship, a genuine love. It feels fulfilling, crazy, and great all at the same time. It feels really good because I finally closed out such a huge, heavy, dark chapter. California was great. It was beautiful, and I learned a lot, but California was also full of super heavy life lessons. This move was like the last thing I needed to do to fully cleanse my space and move forward. Those tasks have been accomplished. Those lessons have been learned. That chapter is closed, and I can finally move forward with the rest of my life and have a completely new beginning. Start a new chapter. In some ways, though, this is more than just a new chapter. I feel like Series 1 of my life is over. The first book in the series of Sable is complete. Now it's time to begin the new series. The series of Sable Danielle, a more authentic, fulfilling, powerful, and commanding series of life, and I'm really excited about it, to be honest. The Bay Area will always have a special place in my heart, but my time there has reached its end. My job there is done. I feel like California was a place for me to learn myself and grow, hit rock bottom, and truly learn to survive on my own, and love me for me. It was a place for me to find my strength, find my voice, and find Sable again. It was the place that deepened my spirituality and taught me that the universe and all of its energies truly are limitless, but it's based off of me and what energy I put out. I lived there, but it never felt like home, and my spirit has been yearning to feel at home again for quite some time. In summer 2020, I finally found a place that feels like home. Away from home, of course. Illinois will always be my first home, but I found this home. I worked for this home. I deserve this home. I finally reached the spot I've been busting my ass to reach. I finally am living a life that I feel I deserve to be living, or at least on the right path. I'm living comfortably, internally, and externally. I'm fulfilled, and the reason that it feels so good is that I didn't need and don't need anybody to make me feel this way, or to make it happen. I'm fulfilled within myself, and I can do this all by myself. However, that doesn't mean I always want to do this by myself, but I can if need be, and that feels really good. That was an important lesson for me to learn and conquer. I'm happy and content with what I have built for me and mine, and although life is a never-ending journey of change and growth, right now I'm good. I'm good. My family and close relationships have been strengthened over the past few months. Like I said, the only thing missing at this point is a genuine loving relationship, and eventually a family. But I'm not in dire need of either of those things right now. Although I can honestly say I believe I'm ready for a relationship right now. I can't really say that was the case the past few years. It sounds like a nice thought, but I'm just fine without it, you know? which says a lot because I always used to feel like I needed to have somebody to feel whole or to enjoy life. Anyways, that's a good segment into this upcoming season. Last season, we focused on inner relationships, our relationship with self, and different components that I found to be important throughout my journey of discovering myself. This season, we will be discussing different aspects of outer relationships, whether that be family, friends, work, romantic, or random. They all play a significant role in your journey, so we will be talking about them. I'm super excited to be back. Thank you so much for returning, and to my newbies, welcome to our pack, the Wolf Pack. But now let's get into our first topic, childhood relationships and the impact that they have on your relationship with yourself. Every relationship in early life, especially, plays a key factor in how you learn to love yourself, which in turn plays a big factor in what you accept in life from others, even as an adult. Starting with your parents to your siblings, your grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, friendships, and relationships throughout school, every encounter and interaction has shaped how you operate. Honestly, that doesn't really ever stop. We're faced every day with experiences throughout society or with other human beings that help mold, validate, or sometimes change how we interact or how we think. It starts when we're kids. We are blank canvases who are initially molded by our parents, and then we get colored over, little by everybody we meet and every social experience we have. The more people that we encounter, the more experiences that we endure, the more color that gets added to the canvas that was originally meant for you. Some pieces are colored over more than others, so much so that you can't even see what's underneath. But what happens when our canvas has been so tainted, so colored over, that we can't even recognize what's underneath? It loses its originality, its authenticity. Everything just runs together. It soaks up so much of the color that's been added that the entire foundation is distorted. That foundation that was meant to be you with a little bit of color from the outside of world turned into a foundation completed by everyone else and little to no you. You aren't even visible anymore, not even to yourself. So the key is being able to sift through those colors, figure out which of those colors you like, where you want to put those colors, and if you want to keep all of them or none at all, and recolor yourself the way that you want to. The best part is that you get to add new colors and make yourself into whoever you want to be. I say recolor yourself because I believe that that's what we all have to do at some point in adult life. We never get a chance to color ourselves the way that we want to as children. We learn to color throughout our life by our relationships and experiences with people and the society we grew up in. And that's okay. That's a part of life, that's how we learn, and that's how we get to where we are today. The beauty of it all is that we always have a chance to recolor ourselves. Every day we wake up, we are given that opportunity. The hard part is choosing what colors to use and where to put them. If you think back over your life, you learn how to talk and communicate by your parents and the other people in your household. It usually goes one of two ways. You replicate the habits of your environment or you do the complete opposite. It's all based off of your emotions and response to your environment. If your parents have healthy communication patterns, then you will learn healthy communication patterns. Same goes for you if they have unhealthy communication patterns. Those will more than likely become your ways of communicating as well. Were your parents there for you as a kid, like you felt you needed them to be? Or in some way or another, did you feel like you needed them in other ways? More of them or less from them? Just something different than what they were providing. How were your relationships with your siblings and your extended family? Were you guys close? Did you respect each other, bully each other, tattle, or always compete with one another? Did you support each other, push each other, or bounce ideas off of one another? What were your other relationships like? Your childhood friends, middle school friends, high school friends, and everyone you built relationships with after. Is it usually hard for you to establish or maintain relationships? Are you the one who usually speaks up? Or are you the one who sits back and only speaks up when necessary? Do you shy away from expressing your feelings? Do you avoid confrontation? Do you see everything as a challenge or always find a reason not to trust people? Did you feel like you could speak your mind or that you had to bite your tongue? Did you feel like you could be yourself, or do you feel like you have to hide who you truly are? Did you feel accepted growing up? Did you feel loved or supported? Did you feel like you were enough or capable of accomplishing things? The questions are limitless. As we get older, I believe that it's our duty to look back over our relationships, habits, patterns, communication style, and so forth. This will help us grow, which is always the end goal, but more importantly, it will open our eyes and help us understand why we feel certain things, act certain ways, accept certain things that we know we shouldn't, why we attract and allow certain people into our lives. Reflecting on relationships, especially the earlier relationships in life, really helps you understand what your habits are and where they stem from. It's important to think about how each of your environments made you feel, how you typically responded, how the important people in your environment responded to you or your emotions. Think about the things that you began to automatically expect after a while. Those are all the things that can help you understand how your childhood relationships affected how you respond to people and what you accept today as an adult. It can help you understand how you view and love yourself. I think it's important to remember that although our parents or the people in our environments that we learn from may not have taught us all of the perfect lessons in life, or maybe they weren't the best examples in every area, more than likely, they did the best that they could do at that point in time. Our parents can only teach us what they learned from their childhood environments and relationships. Same goes for our grandparents and so on. Growth is a slow process, and it's often a process that is avoided. This isn't a bashing session or a scolding session. This is more like an honesty session. And I'm trying to understand myself, and in order to do that, I have to acknowledge the good and the bad pieces of myself and my journey type of session. I understand that our stories, journeys, and relationships are all very different. So I'm not telling you how to feel about certain relationships, especially if they are toxic or were toxic. I'm simply telling you my intentions of this segment. When I think back on my earlier childhood memories regarding gatherings, social events, and personal relationships, I've always shied away from attention. I've always been quiet and an in-the-cut kind of girl, but I'm still not quite sure where that exactly stems from. It's definitely something that has been a huge part of my life. I hate attention, even to this day. That's why it's ironic that a part of my soul's journey is to be publicly vulnerable with the intent to help the collective heal. I honestly never thought I'd be doing this, but when duty calls, you answer and you show up. I also hate and have shied away from confrontation. I've always been in my head about other people's opinions of me. Always. My whole life, it's been so hard for me to just let loose and enjoy the moment, even when it comes to playing games at gatherings. I get nervous and avoid my turn, just like I used to do as a kid. In PE class, I'd always mysteriously have to go to the bathroom right before my turn to kick or hit the ball came up. I've always been the one with so much to say but rarely ever says anything. And although I had a great group of friends growing up and a super close and loving family, I have almost always felt like I don't quite fit in all the way. Not so much around my family or in more intimate settings, but for as long as I can remember, I always felt like the random weirdo who's never fully accepted or understood. I think I know where the bulk of those feelings stem from. I moved from a primarily black and diverse neighborhood when I was going into 4th grade, right before my 10th birthday. We moved to a neighborhood that was predominantly white, and in most of my classes, I was one of the only, if not the only, black girl in my classroom. I made friends, but I was very clearly different from them. When I went back to my hometown, I wasn't black enough, but I also felt like I wasn't white enough for the kids in my new town. So where did I fit in? That feeling never really stopped. I'm not trying to turn this into a racial thing, but it did play a pretty big role in my life in many aspects. With childhood friends, I felt like I was always trying to fit in. As I got older, it affected my dating. I was told I wasn't ghetto enough by a guy I once dated. I mean, we don't have to go through every experience, but not feeling accepted from a young age has affected me even through my adult life. I think that not feeling accepted from a young age pushed me even more to be a people pleaser. I enjoy seeing others happy, but I also enjoy not having the attention on me. I used to enjoy not standing out or giving anyone a reason to question who I am or why I do certain things. I was a sensitive kid. Well, I'm a sensitive being, but as a kid, I took so much to heart. I took so many things to heart, but never expressed them. 1, because I didn't want that attention, and 2, because I didn't want to create any problems. So I kept quiet and went along with it because I knew at the end, regardless, I'd always be good. I only speak up about things in extreme instances because the idea of confrontation is so horrible to me. I guess you could say I've always been a kid that had tendencies of social anxiety because I cared much more about judgments, displeasing others, and the responses that my actions would bring about than I cared about my own happiness and self-respect. That came out even more so in my relationships as I got older. I cared more about the repercussions of me sticking up for myself than I did about making sure I was actually happy in my relationships. What's he gonna think? I don't want to fight. What if he breaks up with me? He's gonna be mad. Those thoughts were always at the front of my brain. Why? Because I never really learned how to speak up for myself as a kid. I never really learned how to stand my ground without caring about how it would affect others. Instead, I was conditioned by my experiences and negative self-talk to avoid conflict and all those anxiety-ridden feelings, and instead, smile and keep other people happy. If they're happy, it'll keep the focus off of you. You'll always be good if they're good. That's what I thought back then. As I got older and experienced some not-so-great things, my perspective changed. In my experience, people tend to live more and more on autopilot, just accepting life for all that it's been and as it's happened, not taking control, but letting life subtly control them. The purpose of this episode is to get you to stop and think about if you are colored how you want to be colored, or if you've been colored primarily by external circumstances and experiences. Take some time to reflect back on all the different chapters of your life, all of the people you've encountered from childhood until now. How have they shaped you? Go back to the slew of questions I mentioned earlier and really try to figure out what has conditioned you to act, react, and think how you do. How have those things affected who you are today? How have certain things affected how you approach relationships and intimate settings? Do they affect how open and vulnerable you are? Do they affect how you attack life? Do you like these things? If not, do you want to recolor yourself? How are you going to distribute your colors? What would you like to change? I know all of these questions can be quite overwhelming. You don't have to face all of them at once. You can take baby steps. It's progress over perfection. The things that I mention are to broaden perspectives and give options, as everyone has a different journey and different things that they relate to. The more I dig into my personality and my past experiences, the more enlightened I become about who I am. Breaking things down to understand them more is fascinating to me, especially when I am the specimen. I have so much more life to go. I want to grow and experience life to its full capacity, and I can only do that if I truly know myself, embrace myself, and love myself. The only way I can love and embrace all of me is if I understand what shapes me. And I believe that that starts with the key relationships and experiences that my younger self has faced. What are your thoughts on relationships, and how have they affected who you are today? That's all I've got for this week. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back next Wednesday where we will be talking all about our next topic. Follow me on Instagram to find out next week's topic. At EUNOIA.lifestyle on Instagram. Oh, I almost forgot. If you've been following me on social media or you've been keeping up with my website, you may have seen that we have added helpful worksheets and tools to download. These worksheets, guides, and tools have been developed for you to utilize as you see fit on your journey. These are things that I found helpful, used, or learned about on my journey that I wanted to share with everyone. There is also a page dedicated to the books that have helped me out. I thought I'd share in case any of you feel inclined to read any of them. I hope you like them, and if you use them, please leave me feedback and let me know what you think. If you post it, hashtag EUNOIA Wolfpack so I can follow your journey to EUNOIA too. Peace and love. Catch you next week. Sable Danielle.